Okay, I think we're back. All right, testing. Let's see. Okay, awesome. I can be heard. All right, that's awesome. Not gonna wait or anything like that, but I'm just gonna go ahead and just man give this word that God put on my heart a while back to give, and been preparing for it. And I just pray that it blesses you tonight. I pray that it's something that you can take and you can utilize in your life, and it can impact your life in a major way. And so y'all, all I ask is that if you find something, if you hear something tonight that sticks out to you, that speaks to you, resonates with you, all I ask is that you like and share it, just to be an impact in other people's lives. And also, one of the things that I want to do is at least impact the person daily. And so that will help me do just that. So, like I said, if you hear anything tonight that resonates with you, just like and share it, so we can spread that impact. All right. So, seasons of Exodus. All right. So seasons of Exodus, y'all. Seasons of Exodus just means, or you can be in a season of Exodus, which there one exit is leaving, means a mental standpoint. Sometimes it's about your perspective shift. So, like I said, some exits, well, I could be a environment where it's just not positive, it's not uplifting you. You may need to exit that environment that you're in, or letting go of what you don't need to carry. Right, a lot of times we're carrying weight that we don't even need to carry, and sometimes that's even you got the help, you got help, that God can take that and carry that for you. Everything in this earth, like, think about it, we're human, y'all, right? So everything in this earth does not mean that we have to handle it all. Jesus paid the price, so we don't have to handle it all. So you don't have to handle it all. And sometimes exiting means operating differently in the way that you, instead of carrying that burden, release it. Instead of being pessimistic, maybe in your thinking, be optimistic. So, holding yourself accountable is a way of operating differently. So again, some exits are physical, but a lot of times it's more so of a mental and a perspective shift. All right. And so tonight, where I'm gonna be talking from, and you can go take the time to read this yourself. It's from Exodus chapters 1 through 16. That's my reference point. You can go check that out yourself. But that's where these 7 key points that I wanted to pull and give you guys is from those chapters. All right. So write this first one down. Every setback is a setup for God to get the glory and show us who He is, and our not just show us who He is, but also the ability we have of being in partnership with Him. All right, and understand, I'm gonna read from my notes, just so I can make sure I get everything to you guys. But so, number one, every setback is a setup for God to get the glory and to show us who He is, and also the ability that we have by being in partnership with Him. All right. So again, reference point is Exodus chapter 1 through 16. Throughout, so this first point is from chapter 1 through 14. God mentions how He hardens Pharaoh's heart. To kind of give you backstory on this chapters 1 through 16. Basically, God told Moses, right? Hey, you're gonna help release my people. Basically, get the Israelites out of Egypt. The Israelites, they were in slave, right? And God was going to use Moses to get them to escape, to help them escape. Moses was, just living his life, had his family, chilling. Moses, and when God came and told him that, he was like, I don't think, maybe you chose the wrong person. I don't think I'm qualified to do that. But God called him to do that. And that's the word in itself, because sometimes, sometimes we may be just chilling, going on with our life, but purpose calls you to do do something else, or calls you to go help over here, or calls you to go create this over here, or partner over here, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, so that's kind of give you, so that's how it started. So Moses ended up, basically God told him, he's like, I am the I am. So anything that Moses needed him to be, God was like, I will be that for you. You don't have to worry about being fearful or anything like that, because I'm with you and you're gonna be good. All right. So Moses like, all right. So Moses ended up taking on that purpose that God gave him and helping the Israelites escape Egypt. Right. So Pharaoh was the master, was over Israel, right? They was under Pharaoh's reign at that time. And so God would tell Moses, hey, go tell Pharaoh, let my people go. And if he don't let my people go, X, Y, and Z gonna happen. So Moses would go tell him. Pharaoh didn't listen. But what's so crazy, and I'm gonna get to this point that I'm making right here on this first, is that God actually hardened Pharaoh's heart, right? So God hardened Pharaoh's heart. Pharaoh didn't listen. Everything that God said would happen ended up happening. So again, Moses went back. Said, God told Moses, hey, tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Let my people go. X, Y, Z gonna happen. And that went on like 4 to 7 times. All right. And so it ended up allowing Egypt. So at one point, Pharaoh just got tired of it. It's like, y'all just go. Because everything that God said was going to happen ended up happening. So Pharaoh was like, oh, y'all just go. So Moses ended up helping Israel escape out of Egypt, right? And so the point in this first point where I'm saying every setback is a setup for God to get the glory, also to show us who he is, and also to show us our ability with the partnership we have in him, the ability that we have because of that partnership. So if it wasn't for God hardening Pharaoh's heart, they wouldn't have been able to escape, right? So God hardening their heart, hardening his heart was a purpose behind that, so they can escape, right? So a lot of times when we're going through setbacks, sometimes we may be like, man, I feel like, I'm a few steps ahead and then 10 steps back, or whatever the case may be, the terminology that we use. A lot of times what we got to understand is it's a setup, right? So God intentionally hardened Pharaoh's heart. It was a setup, again, to get Israel out. So some of the challenges that you may be faced with right now, it may be a setup to get you to where you're going. It may just be something that's catapulting you to get you to where you're going. All right. The second thing you can write down, communicate for instruction and guidance like Moses. One thing that Moses did, he was in constant communication with God. So when he was going to get instruction from God to tell Pharaoh, every time Pharaoh didn't listen, he went back to God. Then when Pharaoh was like, y'all just go, like leave. I don't even care no more. Y'all leave. Gonna happen, end up happening. It was too much for Pharaoh to even take, his family to take. So he's like, just get out. So we all probably heard the story of the Red Sea parting, right? So they end up into the Red Sea. The Israelites, they start panicking, like, okay, so we done escape, we done went through all this just to run into this obstacle. And what Moses did, instead of going, see, a lot of us, we going into that environment that's complaining, that's seeing the pessimist side of things, not understanding you just escaped slavery. You've been in slavery for years and you just escaped, right? So they pessimistic. Most of us, we go talk to them people, right? Instead of what Moses did, he immediately went to go talk to God. Like, Lord, here, and that's the one thing that I learned when reading this, y'all, is that there's nothing that's too much for God. There's nothing that's too much for him. So he can handle our feelings, right? So Moses was like, this is what I'm feeling. This is what we're going through. Like, Lord, you done got us out of this. You done help me, help them escape and all this stuff just to run into this. How do I do with this? God was like, stick out your staff. And by him sticking out that staff, that's when the Red Sea parted. So one thing that Moses did, he was in constant communication with God. See, a lot of us, we go to everybody else for instruction. But what we got to understand, God not only goes, he goes before us. So the fact that he knows the plans for our life, right? He already went before us. So any obstacle that we may face, any potential obstacle that we may face, God had already went before us to help us get past it. What ends up happening, the reason why we don't get past it, because we want to talk to everybody else, or we want to go to those environments that not serving on him. Every little detail, every little thing we can talk to God about. Every obstacle, every challenge that you may face, you can go to God about, and you can understand that he's not intimidated by what you're feeling or what you're going through. Like, we're human. He understands that. He understands that you know what I mean? We got a human mind. So if we see a Red Sea, we like, Lord, how we gonna get past that? You know? And so just equate that to a challenge that you may be dealing with in your life right now, in any future challenge that you may face. Instead of going to other everyone else, or instead of you trying to figure it out yourself, because that's another thing that we do. I've been guilty of it myself, is trying to figure it out on my own, right? And instead of doing that, just go talk to God, and then allow him to direct your path, allow him to direct your path, and allow him to guide you and bring that person or that wisdom or whatever it may be, resource in your path to help you, instead of you trying to figure it out. Understand you got help. We have help, right? So that's point number 2. Communicate for instructions like guidance, like Moses. Stay in constant communication. Every obstacle you face, every situation that you go, talk about it. All right. Third thing, write this down. God goes before us, just like us. He's already went before us. So that's why we don't have to depend on ourselves to figure it out, or depend on other humans to figure it out. We can just go to our Father and ask him, like, hey, Lord, this is what we faced with. Hey, you told me to go over here, and I didn't know it was going to be me. No. So he goes before us. He also goes behind to protect us. So he parted the Red Sea. Israel, they walked through. No harm, no nothing. As soon as the Egyptians tried to walk through, God closed the Red Sea and flooded them out. All the Egyptians that had Israel enslaved, they were gone. See, what we got to understand is that God is so good, y'all. There's some arrows that's been sticking at us that hasn't even hit, because of what God was doing behind us. Just like how he made the Red Sea collapse on the Egyptians that had Israel enslaved. There's some people, we say haters, or whatever the case may be, naysayers, people that hurt you, cause pain, whatever the case may be. It's been some arrows that hasn't even hit you because of what he did, the protection he had behind you. All right. And the fourth point, write this down: continue to grow in faith. We have to continue to grow in faith. The reason why I said that is because one thing, when Israel had made it past the Red Sea, and God had caused the Red Sea to collapse on the Egyptians, and Israel, they're on their way to their promised land. What ended up happening, they start praising God, excited. Like, you'll be excited too. Think about it. You've been a slave your whole life, been under Pharaoh, and then you escape. And God created ways for you to escape. He made it happen. Right? So you praising him, you excited. But then guess what happened? Like, the next day, they complaining. They was complaining about food. Like, what? How they gonna eat? We done made it out of we should have just, they complained so bad, they was like, we should have just stayed with the Egyptians. Like, so you rather be a slave than be free, headed to your promised land? And that's sometimes what we do. Who God got us out. Then all of a sudden we complain in the next minute, as if we forgot to reflect on what he just did. And that's what they did. You telling me this? I was thinking this when I was reading it, like the same God that parted the Red Sea for y'all, that caused Pharaoh's heart to harden to help y'all escape, who caused all this stuff to help y'all escape. You think he not gonna provide food? Like, I know God probably was about to be through with them. Like, I just like as I was reading, I'm like, I was about to be through with them. Like, really? Y'all complaining about food? But that's how we are sometimes. Like, as humans, that's how we are. We forget we forget what God just got us through. And sometimes what we have to do, this is what I wrote down. You can write this down. Understand God is still a good father, even when our circumstances change temporarily. Man, God is still a good father, even when our circumstances change temporarily. Just because our circumstances change, that don't mean that changes him. Everything we face, he already knew what we was going to deal with. He already got an answer to it. He already got a way around it. He already got a way through it. What we got to get good at is like what I said on point number 2 is staying in communication. When we're faced with things, staying in that communication with him. And so they were in need, Israel was in need of growth and reflection. And that's another thing. And what I had to learn on my journey, the importance of reflecting, not reflecting to stay stuck. Like, I'm not reflecting to stay stuck in my past, but reflect to grab the fruit, reflect to grab the gems, the lessons that God taught me so I can move forward. And that's what we have to do. Because in life, we're going to have challenges, right? In life, we're going to have challenges. There's no way of getting around it or avoiding it or anything like that. But what we got to do is we got to take a moment, 1, talk to God, and 2, reflect on what he's already done for you. To write down, we don't have to prove anything to anyone. If it's from God, he will show. We don't have to prove anything to anyone. If it's from God, we will show. He will show. See, every time Moses went back to tell Pharaoh what God said, as he instructed, Pharaoh did not believe him. And every time what God said he would do came to pass. See, we live in this social media, era. And one of the cons of that, it gets us in this, I gotta prove something to somebody, right? You start posting to prove to people that ain't even paying attention, like half the time. And the thing about it, and even in this also for you business owners, visionaries, God gave you a vision. The only support you need is from him because he gave it to you. I'm speaking from experience. At one point in my journey, I felt the need to have to prove to people what God showed me. And I had to learn I have nothing to prove. And reading these chapters, it helped me realize God gonna show. If he gave it, if he said it, it's gonna happen. We don't gotta waste time trying to prove something to people. And then when you get in that space of trying to prove, it gets you out of character. It actually drains you. It gets you in this whole different state of mind. And I'm just letting you know, for all the business owners, visionaries, you don't have anything to prove to nobody. What the vision that God gave you to do, go do it. The people that's supposed to be a part of it, he gonna bring them. You don't have to worry about it. And if it's not happening as fast as you want it to, don't worry about that either. Don't lose faith. Thing about it is, what we got to understand, God, he loves us so much that he wants us to be equipped. He understands that we will forever be growing, but he wants to develop us in such a way to where the vision that he gave, we can be responsible enough to carry that vision. Because with that vision, see, what I realized, things that God gives, it comes with responsibility. So you have to understand, we got to understand that there's going to be a growth period. And I know everybody's story and situation isn't that way. Everybody's story different, but everybody at a certain point hits development. Whether you get fast success or whether you start seeing the success immediately or you start seeing it later, everybody's going to go through a development stage regardless, and there's no way around it. So go for that vision that he's giving you, and understand, again, you don't have anything to prove to anyone else. All right. Number 6, stewardship. Write this down. Stewardship is so important. I had to learn this on my journey as well, because again, going back to that, what I just spoke about, responsibility. So stewardship is just managing. See, everything that we've been blessed with in this earth, we're just managers over it. We don't own it. We can't take it with us when we leave. We're just stewarding it, right? And so understand, we are being tested to see how we steward the resources God has given us. See, in chapter 16, God gave them instructions. So after Israel was complaining about food and water and all that stuff, God basically, God had told Moses to come up the mountain because they was talking. I look at it like God was giving him guidance and strategy and what to do and all these other things. And he told Moses to have no one else come up the mountain. So Israel, they're in the wilderness. They start complaining about the food, like I said. So God sends Moses back down and instructed him to let them know how to go about the food. And basically what I looked at it as, like, God was telling them how what to eat during this period, what to eat during that period, just so it can sustain them, right? And so he even said, I'm testing them. And I believe he was testing them to see how they were going to steward the resources that God gave them in the instruction that he gave them. Right. And so understand that, yes, because of Jesus paying the price, you're blessed. You're blessed. You're operating from a place of blessed, right? Position of blessed, right? At the same time, we are being tested, I feel like, to help us grow so we can steward the resources better. Because think about it, if God gives you a purpose, right? God gives you this purpose. He gives everybody purpose. And he gives you this vision to go do. Maybe it's to open up a business. Maybe it's to start, after school program. Maybe it's to whatever, fill in the blank. Okay. And he gives you that vision, right? And with that vision is going to come things that you're going to have to, let's say, purchase. It's going to come with relationships that you're going to have to build. And if you're a person that's mismanaging the resources, like let's say you mismanaging the money he gives you, how can you go build the vision? If you're mismanaging the relationships, if you're not, taking care of the relationships that he's blessed you with, because understand, those people didn't have to come help you with the vision. So if you're not nurturing those relationships and stewarding them, right, then why would God continue to bring more people to help you fulfill the vision? Because it looks as if you're not going to nurture or tend to the people, to the flock, the way that you should. Right. And thank God, Jesus came and paid the price where we have his help as well. But understand, there's things within the journey that's going to require our participation. So if I'm needing to make an investment into the vision that he's given me, but I don't even have any seed money to invest, and that's a whole nother talk I want to do about seed money. If I don't have any seed money because I've mismanaged and I spent money on shopping, or I spent money on going out, or I spent money here hanging with stuff that don't serve purpose really, and I don't have any seed money to give, then why would he bring more resources if it looks as if you're not going to manage or steward those resources properly? Right? It's not saying that he doesn't love you. It's not saying that he doesn't want to bless you, but why would he hurt you in that way and bless you with all these resources if you haven't learned how to steward them effectively so he can continually increase you increase those resources. And that goes for whether that's money, relationships, right? He's looking at how we're being tested on how we steward. And thank God for his grace, because we'll learn the lesson and we have the opportunity to fix it and change it and adjust. But understand stewardship is important. All right, the last point, number 7, do not fear or be afraid. As his child, understand this, as God's kids, he is with us every step of the way during the good and the bad. He's guiding us. There's nothing to be afraid of. I know that's, maybe you may like, that's easier said than done, Jamie. Like, I'm faced with this challenge. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna take care of this. I don't know how I'm gonna pay this bill. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. Go talk to God about it. Second point, because a lot of times when we get in that space, we're trying to figure out what we have to do. And you don't necessarily have to have, you don't have to have all the answers. You can, just like Moses went to God for instruction every step of the way. Dude, and guess what God did? Open the door. He wants to open the door. He wants to help. But it takes, I feel like, letting go of pride, ego, and humility to say, Lord, this is what I'm feeling. I don't know what to do. And just to stay in a state of peace, to stay in a state of peace. Because when you start getting in that figure out mode, you're getting out of peace. So just if it's just to stay in that state, Lord, what do I need to do with this? Because I don't want to stress over that. I don't want to worry over that. And I know I have to take care of this bill, this expense. The kids got this. I need to do this. Lord, can you bring it to me? And then when he brings it, go back to point 6, steward it right. Because think about it, if again, just like if you're a parent, if your kid shows responsibility, you trust them with more. It's the same thing. God wants to give you more, but show responsibility. Some of us, we want more, but we haven't even matured in responsibility yet. And again, God loves us so much that he don't want us to fail. He don't want to put that weight, that burden, because that'll be a burden. Instead of it being a blessing, it'll become a burden when it was intended to be a blessing. But it's a burden because we haven't increased in our capacity and responsibility in becoming a better steward. All right. So, but understand, you have nothing to fear. You don't have to be afraid. God is with you every step of the way. He will protect us from our enemies and repay those that hurt us. You don't have to worry. See, a lot of us, we want to be successful just to pay back somebody. Oh, I got to show my success. Like social media got us living in that space again. You ain't got to worry about all that. Again, that gets you out of peace. That gets you in that proven game. Like point number 5, we don't have nothing to prove to nobody. That gets you in that space where you feel that you got to prove something to somebody. Oh, I got to get them back for hurting me. So I need to get successful so they can. That's taking you, what I learned, that is taking you away from your peace of mind. And that is also taking you away from your purpose. You serving your purpose with to the full of its capacity, to its fullest potential. Because if I'm so focused on who hurt me, I'm not properly looking at what all I can be doing to serve. And where that's just an indicator that healing needs to take place. And I get it. I've been hurt by people too. And it ain't easy to just forgive. It really, it's not easy. Like it's I've forgiven people. Then that moment I didn't feel it, but I forgave them off of faith. Later on, my feelings caught up. Right? So a lot of us, we feel like we got to feel it before we do it. Now I'm telling you, you don't have to, you don't. You can forgive off of faith and then your feelings will catch up later. Release them people, because the thing about it, you'll constantly be living in that, I got to repay somebody that hurt me. And it's like it's almost a slippery slope of getting in a victim mentality. and it blocks us from seeing clear. It's not saying that you wishing bad on nobody or you want it's hurt on somebody. No, but you ain't got to worry about paying them back. Like, just like with Israel, God was protecting them. So when the Egyptians tried to cross the Red Sea, he flooded them out. So I'm telling you, you ain't got to worry about repaying. That's just constantly looking back, trying to repay somebody. It's holding you back. It's slowing you down. God already got that taken care of. Keep moving forward, because you're gonna face another obstacle. But if you on this journey, right? Because we're gonna, again, there's challenges, gonna be challenges on the journey. So if I know I may have a challenge up ahead, got some challenges up ahead, but if I'm constantly stuck on this, now I'm having to deal with this and that challenge. That's, man, that's a lot. And you don't even have to deal with the challenge because God got that. You just gotta stay in constant communication with him. So, man, I pray that this bless your life. Man, I pray that this added value to you. I hope there was something that you can pull out of these points that just will help you with your week, help you with your month, help you with the years ahead, help you see from a different perspective. I have some more stuff that I just can't wait to talk about, just to help, just to add value. Understand, you're not in this alone. Not in this alone. God is with you every step of the way, and just understand that we all in this together. We all walking through this journey together. And there's things that I'm gonna share on my channel of my story that help you see that you're not alone, man. Like, because what you find is all humans kind of go through the similar things. It's just a matter of how you react to certain things, and things get better as our perspective and our mind shifts. Things get better. So that way, even when you're faced with challenges, or even when, like I said this before, chaos may be happening, you're able to still walk through that with a peace of mind, with joy in your heart, happiness, laughter, and embracing the challenge instead of allowing the challenge to take you down or take you out or whatever. Just because of the foundation you standing on, and the shifting, the renewing of the mind that's being taking place. All right, so pray that this bless you guys. I love you guys. Again, if you find something if you heard something tonight that resonates with you, please like and share this, just to spread the impact. Like I said, my goal is to at least impact one person a day. So liking and sharing this will help do just that. I love you guys. Have a phenomenal week. And until next week, out.